have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Opinions Vary. That's Opinions with an A. Please like, share, and subscribe. And today we're going to talk about Sunny Hostin. And Sunny Hostin's in the news again because a lot of people on the left are blaming her for tanking Kamala Harris's campaign. Sunny Hostin, when Kamala Harris was on The View, asked her a very simple question: what would you do differently than Joe Biden? Kamala Harris couldn't answer the question. She never answered her the whole campaign, really. So she's taking heat for it, which is fine with me. And if they want to blame Sunny Hostin, nobody better. I can't stand Sunny Hostin. I think Sunny Hostin is a racist, and I don't think Sunny Hostin is particularly bright. But fine with me if they want to lay it on her. Nobody more deserving. Also, at the end of the video, I'm going to go into a little bit of comparison on the power of television and podcasts and how that has shifted dramatically. I'll go into a little comparison on Joe Rogan as opposed to the audience of The View and what they're getting. So stick around for that. But here we go. Enjoy.
Did Sunny Hostin personally cost Kamala Harris the election with her question?
Oh, wow. I wish I had that much power because I would have flipped it in the other way.
Yeah, sure. It's like James Carville and all these pundits are saying it.
Look, I think it goes to show the how important this show is, you know, in this country and actually internationally.
It's not that important. You're so full of yourself.
I have to laugh because normally whenever we have a big politician on and they do well, I get all these trolls on Twitter and other places saying they gave him the questions beforehand. The question.
Who are you interviewing? Are they politicians that disagree with you or politicians that echo chamber you? I'd like to know. Actually, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. Prompter. I'm like, well, now we have proof.
They are not.
We do not do that.
I will say this. It's interesting to me. As I do think it's just clickbait. And I think any headline that has The View mentioned or my name mentioned seems to go viral.
All right, well,
again, you're full of yourself. Nobody cares about you, especially now. You're going to see your ratings are going to start to tank. You are going to start to fall into the depths of the CNNs and the MSNBCs if you just keep this up with the constant one-way echo chamber back and forth with literally nobody you bring on the show ever stands up to any of you with any kind of real argument. So just keep it up. Keep it up, and you'll all be fired soon enough too, because they're just not going to keep paying the salaries of all these this quote unquote talent when they're just not getting a bang for the buck anymore out of the ad revenue.
Remind people what the question was. It was, what would you have done differently?
I asked the vice president what she would do differently in a Biden and in Harris administration as opposed to a Biden administration.
And what if anything, she wishes she could have done differently in the past 4 years or whatever?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I followed up because I was surprised at the answer. Look.
Why were you surprised? The woman hasn't given a real answer the whole time. This is what I'm saying. You're in denial. You're in denial.
I think it wasn't so much about the question, but it was really more about the answer.
Not a thing comes to mind.
Not a thing comes to mind. And that's why I followed up with, is there anything you would do differently?
Write it down for her in crayon next time. Maybe then she'll understand or be able to give you an actual answer. Doubtful, but try that next time, Sonny.
And the reason I followed up is because, you know, that wasn't a gotcha question. That was a layup, really.
It was an important question, and I think one she should have expected.
Yeah, you think she should have expected it? Gee, wow. Now I know why this guy gets good politicians, apparently, according to him, on his show. Big-time politicians.
That's what I thought. I actually thought it was a chance for her to explain to all the people who are saying, I want a change agent, for her to explain that, of course, she has a different lived experience from President Biden. But they did have one of the most successful administrations in our country.
That's the tricky part.
And
No, that's the tricky part. Yeah, the tricky part, because they didn't have one of the most successful administrations. It was a complete failure, which is evidenced by the colossal blowout you just faced last week. Again, complete denial.
Thought she would then say, I would build on the wins that we've had. And
what wins? What wins? Who won? Who won? I didn't win. Did you guys win? Anybody watching? Did you win? Did anybody watching this Behind the Table podcast win? Who won? Tell me who won. They never back up their statements. They just make a statement and then it just moves on. Nobody's ever there to say, wait a minute, you just said you had that the Biden was one of the most successful. How? You just talked about the amount of wins. What wins? And put them into context. What wins?
I had a laundry list of wins in my head.
Right. Right. In your head. Okay. Along with whatever else is floating around up there.
And she didn't answer it that way. She said, not a thing comes to mind.
Because there is nothing that comes to mind.
And listen, I think it goes to show you how loyal she was to the president who gave her the opportunity to run for president.
He didn't give her anything. He was shivved. He was told he's getting out. And he got his revenge by making sure it was her.
Who chose her as his vice president. And
who basically named her as his successor when he endorsed her.
Yes, it says a lot about her character.
Again, it's like we're praising Kamala Harris here. Like it's Trump has snapped these people's brains in half. And I don't think they're ever going to put them back together again. They have snapped in half their brains. And Trump did it just by, I don't know, being normal. It snapped these people in half.
Her values. I love a ride or die person. So I'm not going to opine as to whether or not it was the right answer or the wrong answer.
Right, because you're a coward. Why would you give an opinion that actually mattered?
I will just say I was surprised at the answer because it was a question that really could have inured to her benefit. It was a question that could have been a change maker in a sense.
Yeah, and I think
it was a change maker. Even the people watching your show saw how much of an idiot she was. That was the change maker. That even people watch your show who are in the tank for the most part for the Democrat Party saw what a void, vapid idiot Kamala Harris is. That was the change maker. And thank you very much for being the one to bring that to light for those people. I appreciate it.
And it wasn't.
The people that weren't inclined to vote for her, I think, viewed it as a dismissal of the idea that there's something in the last 4 years that wasn't working.
Yes.
And that a change was needed.
But again, it was not planned
no, of course not.
to tank her her run. I don't think
as much as I believe in the power of the view and the power of
No, you tanked it. Thank you. Again, I can't thank you enough.
Sonny Hostin.
Yeah,
I don't think
overblown.
I don't think it changed the direction of the election at all.
Right, because again, you're also a leftist echo chamber, vapid, just void of any like real rationale person. Your brain's probably snapped too by Trump.
Direction. No. Thank you, James Carville, for thinking that I'm such a political savant.
Yeah.
That I'm.
No, he's not thinking that. He's thinking you asked a layup question that she should have been prepared to answer day one, and she never could ever answer her entire campaign. He's not giving you credit for being intelligent, Sonny Hostin. What he's doing is saying that, like what I just said, that exposed to the people in the tank for her, for the most part, how much of a moron she was. And some of those people, as much as they might have been in the tank, said, I can't do this again. I can't. Now I just can't do it. Those are the people that voted down ballot Democrat, but voted Trump at the top of the ticket or stayed home.
Able to do something like that, but I can tell you that was not my intention at all. And again, it was really a layup. And other journalists asked her that question afterwards, and
they asked her before, they asked her after. That she'll never have an answer because she can't answer the question. She just can't answer it.
And she didn't really change her answer in a sense.
No. Later in the episode, I remember she came back and said that she would have a Republican on the cabinet.
Yes,
which is a different.
She would have had a Republican in a cabinet. Oh, you mean a Republican like Liz Cheney? Wow, yeah, that's what everybody wants. They want Liz. The fact that the Democrats at this campaign ran to the Cheneys shows how just out of touch and just the worst campaign and the worst candidate of all time. They go to the Cheneys. There is nobody hated more on the left and the right at this point, but the left than the Cheneys. My God, it's just incredible. If there's a handbook on how not to run a campaign, Kamala Harris's campaign is going to be that handbook. Do everything the opposite of what this campaign did if you want to have a chance to win.
Difference, but I think it's not the type of difference that they were looking for, the people that wanted a change in the White House.
No, she really, I think, could have answered it in a much more robust way, and touting the great achievements of this presidency.
Right.
There were no great achievements of this presidency, you fool. You are one of these people. You live in this bubble. You probably don't know anybody that owns a pickup truck. You never pay for your own groceries. You have no idea what the rest of the people, the normal people in this country have been going through under this dystopian nightmare for the last 4 years. You have no clue. So you you have no just grasp of reality. None of them do. And good, because they're just going to keep burying themselves like this. It's really, like I said, brain snapped.
That's what I was expecting.
It was a trickier question when you're trying to be loyal, and you are also speaking about your own record in that moment. So it's trickier than it seems on the surface.
There's nothing tricky about it. Do you want to win or not? That's a simple question. Whether you're telling the truth or not, what are you going to do different? I'm going to shut the border down. Day one, we got to get this under control. We're going to shut it down, and then I'll assess it from there, and we're going to move in the direction we want immigration-wise, but for now, I need to shut the border down. Even if she was lying, she needs to say that. It's such a simple question. No, then instead you get, grocery stores are price gouging. That was her big thing. We're going to stop price gouging. I mean, it was just amazing. She could... never mind.
Yes.
But she should have been ready for it.
And it is trickier. I think that point is really important because she said, I've been in the room for all the big decisions. And she agreed
Which
with,
I respect,
with those
by the way,
decisions.
sitting there and taking responsibility for the good and the bad. And I've been there and I get that. Yeah.
So I thought it was probably more nuanced than people are taking it, you know.
Well, it became a political ad in minutes, as many projected it would.
It did.
Yeah.
And I knew that when I got her answer. And that's why I followed up.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't help.
Right, like I said, you asked it, she answered it wrong, then you followed up, and she answered it even worse. Like I said, try some crayons next time, write it down in crayon, tell her to stay within the lines, and maybe you'll get a better answer next time from that dope.
Well, listen, you asked the questions that neaded to be asked. All right, so speaking of
That's
questions...
what we do, folks. We ask the hard questions.
It is.
That's a lie. Oh, God, these people are so... All right, so that's as much as I can take, and I'm probably sure that's about as much as you could take also. So just out to lunch, no reality. I just don't know that they'll ever wrap their heads around what's really happening and what happened. People like Sunny Hostin, they are such ideologues. And then when you add in the fact that they're really not that intelligent, might be book smart, she's a lawyer, she probably studies, whatever, she's good at studying, or maybe she can see stuff, and maybe she has a photographic memory when it comes to reading the law. Who knows? Who knows how she became a lawyer? I don't know. But she's not a smart person. There's a big difference between smart and smart. There's a difference. I'd rather be the guy who will never pass a bar exam, but I know 2 + 2 is 4. And that's how I guide my thinking. That's how I guide my philosophy. It isn't rocket science. It's not. So I just thought we should follow up, and one last time, hopefully, with The View, which I think is headed into the abyss now. I think that people are sick of being lied to. They're listening to the show still, and you got a couple of people on there that are trying to bring it back to reality a little bit, but I guess what once in a while, but not really. Not really. I wanted to look real quick at the influence and how things have changed, and look at Joe Rogan's reach, for example, and his power that he has over now an election cycle. If depending on who goes on his show, how they do on his show, a lot of these podcasts. So Joe Rogan, as of March 2024, the Joe Rogan Experience has 14.5 followers on Spotify. That's 3 times the number of followers of the second most popular podcast on the platform. He has 16.4 million subscribers on YouTube and 18.9 million followers on Instagram. I mean, yes, some of those are duplicate followers, but a lot of them probably aren't. I mean, if, say, even a third of each platform, you're looking at his reach is probably pushing 30 million people. 30 million people. Joe Rogan. Incredible. The podcast reportedly has 190 million downloads per month. That's amazing. 81% of his listeners are male, 56% are between 18 and 34. So that is a big reason why Trump took that vote and did very well with Gen Z, which I didn't. I'll be honest, I missed it. I thought Gen Z was going to be a problem for Trump. But people like Joe Rogan, the way Trump's campaign was made to go on these podcasts, the Theo Von and all of them, it was brilliant. Brilliant. It's now that, like I said, how Kamala Harris's campaign is going to be the one that just do the opposite of. Trump's campaign is now the model going forward. If you want to win, this is what you have to do. That's it. And when it comes to why he did so well with young men, it became cool to vote for Trump. I mean, what a difference! What a difference 8 years makes. Like I said, the lifetime, 4 years is a lifetime, many lifetimes in political years. 8 years is generations, and that's what we saw, a generational shift. We saw a generational shift among who wanted to vote for Donald Trump. It became cool to vote for him. I give a lot of credit to his campaign for going on these podcasts. I give a lot of credit to people like Charlie Kirk, who visited all these colleges and let these kids talk and listen to them, and they listened to him, and they heard something probably they never heard before. You know, then they were used to, and a lot of them, they bought into it. They liked it. Now, let's look at The View. All right, so The View was a daytime talk. It was to obtain daytime talk news program to obtain the highest number of total viewers during its 24th season, averaging 2.743 million viewers. As part of the 2022-23 television season, the 26th season, it averaged 2.375. So this year, in an election year, they jumped up from 2.3 to 2.7 million. That number, 2.7, I'm going to bet that number is going below 2.3 now. They're going to start to bleed viewers now. Like I said, people are sick and tired of being lied to and, and being gaslighted. They're tired of it. And now a lot of these people who watch that show realize, not all of them, there are some of them that'll stick around forever. As long as the show's on, they'll watch. But a lot of people realize now, I was gaslighted by these people. So we'll see what happens. But I think The View and all these programs, they're on their last legs. They're on their last legs. They might survive just based on the fact that the networks might have too much pride, and they might bleed some money a little bit, just keeping them around. But the heyday is done. It's over. It's over. So there you go. So I just wanted to go over that real quick. I just think those numbers, they tell the tale. Like I said, common sense. And tell me what you guys think. Do you think that podcasts, they're the future? That's what you have to do to win campaigns now? I think it is. Tell me what you think about Sunny Hostin. I mean, is she not the dumbest, most in denial person on television? She's up there. She's top 10. She's top 10. There's a lot of them that Trump has snapped their brains, like I said, but she's top 10 for sure. So tell me what you guys think in the comments. Hope you enjoyed this one. Continue to follow me at Opinions Vary.